Hey guys, so I'm going to try to do a quick color matching video, and what that means is if we have natural objects, and in your portrait it would be your face, your hair, whatever, you're having to match those colors. So if you want to take that as a transferable skill, that skill will transfer into oil paint, acrylic, watercolor, you name it, because you're picking up this ability to actually match colors. So if I want to match this leaf, which is a lily of the valley leaf that I just picked from outside, I should be able to match this color exactly. I'm going to start with the cardboard, which is just the color of regular old cardboard, which I think is a good start. Now, one of the challenges with watercolor is that you don't have white. So what I'm going to attempt to do is sort of match this hue and then adjust my tone, my lightness and darkness, by using transparency. So I'm going to use a paper plate here, and I've got these little white pieces of watercolor paper that I cut out of one of the spare sheets. And you could use these as just kind of like your test strip, and you just hold it up next to the cardboard. So when we think about cardboard, you got to ask yourself, what is the kind of saturation level within this cardboard? So I would say it's dominantly white, believe it or not. So it's probably good 50% white or more. Well, that's not going to help me now. So what else is in it, okay? So what's in it is definitely some yellow, okay? So I'm going to take my yellow here, and you can do this in the process. You can ask yourself, how am I doing here? Is this color match the cardboard yet? And the answer would be no, correct? Why? Well, it's too yellow. Okay, so we know it's too yellow. So the complement of yellow is actually violet. Okay, so I'm going to bring violet directly into my yellow. Add a little bit more yellow. And we can see already we're closer to where we need to be. What's missing? I would say it needs a little bit of a red. Okay, I'm going to bring a little bit of a red in there. Okay, maybe even a little bit of blue. Small amount of blue. And you want to be careful not to kind of overshoot it as you're doing this. Bring a little yellow back in there. Now I'm a little green. What's the complement of green? Red. Okay, take a little bit more red and put it in there. Now comes the tricky part. How to match the value because you don't have white. All right, so I'm still a little intense. I'm a little too, almost a little too red. Okay, so again, might need just a touch more yellow and a little bit of blue. Okay, we knocked that red out because the complement of red is green. We can probably go ahead and start using our color and painting it on our paper here. And again, you're going to have textural differences. All right, so where am I? I'm still a little too light, and I'm a little too yellow. Okay, complement of yellow again is violet. So we'll bring a little dab of violet in here. Maybe a little bit more red. And then just yellow to kind of compensate there. All right, now I'm going to come up on here. See how we're doing here. Okay, we're getting pretty close there. All right, perhaps a little bit of yellow. Now, if you're doing this with oil, you're going to get more of an exact match because you're getting the opacity. You're getting that opaque color like you do in oil. Whereas watercolor, you just have to kind of live with a little bit of this texture. Okay, we're starting to get close. Probably want to get a little bit of water in there to lighten it up a bit. I could even take my paper towel and dab that off a bit. But you can see that I'm getting in the neighborhood there. Okay, let's try this. Let's just transition right to this green. Okay, well, we know that green is green, so we could just try our green if we want. So I'm going to take a bunch of green, paint it down on there. This is what's called local color. This is childlike color. So children, no offense to children, but children say, okay, it's a green leaf, so I'm gonna just take green and paint it green. So we're gonna take that one step further. We're gonna say, what's wrong with this green right here? Well, it's too intense. It's too greenish. So I just add a little bit of that red in there to kind of knock that back a little bit. I need a bunch of yellow. This is a very yellowish green. Get a little bit more yellow. And see already, you're starting to get closer to what you need there. Tiny bit of red just to knock that green back just a bit more. And you can see that I'm getting awfully close to the correct green right there. Adding a little bit more yellow. Okay, and you can see that the color of that leaf, a little bit of red, just adjusting it, awfully close right there, okay? So those are two examples, and I'd like you to take 15, 20 minutes and do as many as you'd like, but I would like you to have some confidence matching color. This is a very important step. It's something that you want to do maybe before you really get into the color of your portrait. You can do your darks and stuff, and I think you'd be all right there, but eventually you're going to have to match colors, and it can be a very frustrating thing. Use scratch paper to match it. Hold it up to your photo. Make sure that you've got the right tone, which means the right lightness and darkness. If your hue is off a little bit in your portrait, but your tone is correct, you're light to dark, it's still going to look like you, right? So like you could do a purple version of yourself, and if the contrast from light to dark is correct, and you show it to all your friends and family, they're like, that's you. Now you're purple, but that's you, okay? So we're really concerned especially about tone, light and dark, but we also want to nail the hue. So we want to get that hue as close as we can to what we perceive to be the proper hue. So grab a piece of cardboard, a leaf, or whatever you feel like trying to match. The only exception is like really iridescent colors, or sometimes a really vivid magenta flower or something. In our set, we just don't have the colors to do that. You could go buy them somewhere if you wanted to, but this is going to be limited to just, you know, most of the colors that you see in your house and outside, but a few limitations there. So relatively easy, but very important. And keep in mind, remember, I use the complementary process, meaning if something is too red, I add a little bit of green. If something is too blue, I add a little bit of orange. If something is too violet, I add yellow. Now, if something is too blue, let's say, and I need to add orange, I don't have to go right to the orange. I could add red and yellow. And then once you get good at it, you start making little tweaks and adjustments here and there. So it's really kind of a very important skill. It's a relatively actually easy skill to pick up, and it's all by eye. So you're just kind of looking at a color. You know, if I were to look at this chair right here, okay, I can tell you right now that I would need red, I would need alizarin crimson, I would need yellow, and I would need ultramarine blue to make this. So like I can look at virtually all colors and determine what colors I would need to make those. You'll be able to do that too. It's a little bit trickier in watercolor, but you could master it just as easily as oil painters do. And again, it's a transferable skill. So you could pick up oil painting and use the same process, and within a very short time be able to match colors. So thanks for hanging in here, and I will post this, and have a wonderful day. Take care.